Welcome everybody to Behind the Tech. Today we have Christine Perry. We also have Sawyer, aka the Great Axios, and myself, Anthony, aka Lord Gandhi. We're just going to dive deeper into what brought Christine to the blockchain industry and specifically to Scale. So without further ado, welcome Christine.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Christine. We're just going to start off with a couple questions just to kind of let our community and hopefully the Web3 community as a whole just get a deeper understanding of, like Anthony said, what brought you to blockchain and kind of where you're going now. So the first question I would love to ask you is about your work experience. So you have a amazing work experience at all sorts of successful companies, some that are still going today, and many that actually got acquired by some of the big tech giants in today's industry. Um, what we're interested in is at what point did you decide the blockchain industry is the place for me, and what impact are you trying to achieve on this industry as a whole?
Great question. So I got into blockchain in about 2017, and it was right before Burning Man, to make this extremely personal. I decided to put some money into a few tokens, BTC, ETC, Litecoin, no judgment. And I went to Burning Man and I came back and I was like, wow, okay, maybe this is something worth looking into. Let me dive deeper beyond the token and actually look into the tech. And that's when I started to discover that there was this whole Ethereum ecosystem. There's a blockchain where you can actually build applications. And because my background's more on the technical side, building, tinkering, full stack development, like I was like, okay, well maybe I could build my own application within this space. And immediately I hit friction. So that was why when I decided to get in, I was like, okay, this friction might be something that might be worth, looking into and figuring out like how I can actually have an impact in resolving that. A couple of other things, I guess, to make this even more personal is when I looked at the space, I also noticed that there weren't a lot of women or people of color in the space. And so one of the things that I thought that I can contribute is be one more person to add to that, pool, both from the women and people of color side to help bring others into the space after I joined as well. And so an initiative that I love to do on the side is sort of just like mentoring other women or people of color looking to getting a start on understanding crypto, understanding blockchain, and helping them with the journey along the way.
That is absolutely amazing. First of all, thank you for joining the space because you're absolutely amazing with what you do. And second, I know Anthony can speak this a little bit deeper than I can, but as a community that we push forward, we are all about um, allowing everybody in. There should be no room for anybody to be discluded from our community or, to be honest, Web3 as a whole, especially with how decentralized it is. And that's one of the things that makes it so great, right? Is how broad it is, and different people of color and ethnicity and language and just everything across the board, and gender as well, right? So that's really awesome, and really great on how you got involved. Um, yeah, Anthony, back to you.
Oh yeah, I mean, I especially women and the people of color. I find a lot of time. Well, let me back up. In my past, I've worked with um, small businesses. I work to build websites, people that want to get started or they've already started but they don't have a web presence. I mean, I found a lot of times it is women and people of color that have that kind of technological barrier and even economical barrier. Um, so I, I'm wondering what kind of advice do you give people trying to get into the space? Especially like for example, I try to tell my good friend. He comes from North Carolina, good school, but family comes from like the same place same place I come from. Not a lot of opportunity there. And to get into mainly Ethereum, you have to spend a lot of money on like gas fees and everything. So it's not reasonable to get into the space. What do you tell them when they come to you or when you approach them?
Yeah, I think especially now the space has evolved a bit, where before it was as if you had to have more capital in order to participate. And I think now with like the layer twos and other layers that sit on top of Ethereum to help support it, such as Scale, that removes like gas fees for end users, it makes it possible for anyone to get in and to actually start using applications now. And so what I do personally though is like when I talk to either family or friends or anyone that I meet like at a conference that is looking for, okay, where do I start? Where do I begin? How do I actually make sense of this? I try to kind of come at an angle from where they can understand it. If you are an artist, well, guess what? This is the year of artists for you, especially within blockchain and NFT space. Like, there's obviously, kind of taking the starving artist and flipping it on its head, saying, okay, regardless of where you come from, you can launch your project and be successful in blockchain. And so I try to pick from some of those successful stories to help explain to them that, hey, this might be like a template or a path that you can follow. If you're not an artist, but let's say that you have like a product management, a finance, a customer support background, I think what's really cool about the blockchain space now too is that we're saying that we're no longer building for just the developer. We're building for user experience. We're building for everyone. We're trying to create like the grandma effect, where my grandma can now come to a blockchain application and actually use it. And if that's going to be true, we actually need people of all types of skill sets coming to help push that narrative of usability forward. And so I try to like create like this visualization of like a world within blockchain that they can help participate in and be a part of. And yes, while there is a lot of deep tech, there's still so much else that I feel that everyone could be impactful on if they want to join the space. And if they want to use the space, definitely start to lean into more of those projects that are focusing more on usability.
Gotcha.
First of
That's
all,
Go
sorry,
ahead, sorry.
Anthony, I have to comment on this. The grandma test. We love the grandma test. That is how we define and build our technology, especially in this space where it is so difficult to make things simple. So, great analogy. I apologize, Anthony. Please finish that thought.
I love it.
No, you're good. I was honestly about to go to the grammar test as well. I was just like we push for that in general, but even further than that, just not even the grammar test. The idea that we need multiple types of people in the space to make it successful. One of a thesis I wrote a couple years ago is the fact that I think the world is moving towards passion project based living in general. And I think that this space allows for people to pursue passions. And if personally, when I talk to people, I say, hey, what would you do if you could do anything? If you could paid, you could do anything. What would you do? And the fact that blockchain technology allows for a lot of peer-to-peer connections, peer-to-peer payments. You can really connect to individuals that have the same interests as you, and you can follow those passion projects. So I just thought that was really interesting that you got into that because of those reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the way you phrase that too, the passion project, because there's a whole, subsect within blockchain, if you will, that it's called like social impact, right? And it's all the applications that are trying to figure out how to use blockchain to do something good within the world. And that is definitely something like worth like leaning into and paying attention to. You find the projects that are trying to reframe how nonprofits exist, where there's actually smart contracts behind it that actually have nonprofits prove that they are spending the money the way that it needs to be spent. And I think that there's so many different ways that you can apply, blockchain to like help the industries like that along. And you see like helping the unbanked. I think that also like doesn't really get as much visibility as it should. There's so many people in the world in different countries where their currency has collapsed, where there's unbanked for trust reasons, and blockchain is coming along and saying, hey, we might have some way to solve that for you. And then you have other people saying, okay, I'm passionate about this, helping people that are unbanked. Let me figure out how I can use my skill set to push that forward. So again, I agree. I just want to double down on that because I love the idea of come with your passion and figure out how you can like layer that with blockchain to push the narrative forward within the space too.
But yeah, the versatility for blockchain technology and the just the diversity of the people in the world in general is going to lead to some great things. But I think let's hop back to the main conversation. Why scale? How did you get to scale, and why did you choose to bring your talents to scale?
So another fun question. So on the journey to trying to figure out how to build my own application, I mentioned friction, but I didn't say what type of friction. Well, I started to build on Ethereum, and it's amazing. Like, there's so many applications, there's so many dev communities, there's so many different tools to like figure out how to build something. But when you're just starting, you don't know which tools to pull together. You also don't understand the gas cost because you're testing in a test environment where you get the token for free. But then there's also like the speed issue. Like in the testnet environments, like it doesn't really show you what's actually going to happen when you push it to mainnet because in test environments it shows it's just faster than it really is. And so you have like those three frictions. One, what tools do I use? Two, it's a high cost for my end users for any application I want to build. And then three, just like the speed is just not there. And so I decided that, well, maybe now's not the time. Maybe I'm too early because, I just want to build something, just like have it work. And I was about to actually leave the space, and I tell this long story because I ended up meeting Jack. And Jack O'Halloran, along with SoundCloud Co., was building SKALE Network. And the SKALE Network was built on the idea of removing that friction for end users. And I was like, huh, that was exactly what I was experiencing. So you're telling me that you are going to build a network that's going to remove the gas cost and speed it up like 1,000 times fold. Sign me up. And it was like, okay, well, if I help in this initiatives with SKALE Network to like solve that problem, then I can eventually like go back and figure out, well, what are other ways that I can like use the ecosystem to build projects based off of, the friction being solved by SKALE Labs. So that definitely just like sold me. And then I was like, okay, let me jump straight in and figure out bringing the skill set that I have developed like on the full stack Web 2 world into the blockchain world to help push that narrative forward too.
That that's really great. I think that process for how you wound up becoming involved is just um, it's so unique, right? Like you got in, it sounds like relatively early to what was being built, and it kind of just aligned with where you're going. So I think that's really cool. And for those of you listening to this that don't know what Scale is, which if you're in our community, you probably do, but if you're new, Scale is a multi-chain network designed to interoperate with Ethereum and provide dApps the ability to have their own chains or work on the recent NFT hubs that are preparing to launch and allow you to avoid these friction points while you're building and help your users avoid them when they're using these dApps. Um, so overall, right, obviously Scale is amazing technology. Christine's one of the people that helped get it to where it is today. And that being said, right, that's a big project, right? Like building a blockchain, building a network, that's a big project. And what we're really interested to kind of follow up on now is kind of jumping back to our first question, right? You have a really, really, really great track record. You worked at a lot of really great companies. What from those companies do you think kind of has helped you give to this network and give to this job?
Right. So in my early career days, I was a full stack developer. So I coded, I built systems to scale for the Department of Defense, and then I moved over to Silicon Valley and started getting to more 50% programmer, more prototyping, and more customer success. And so one of the things that I decided I didn't want to do anymore was scale projects. Pun intended, I don't want to scale. And so I strategically didn't want to like join an engineering team, but still be more on the customer or project facing lines where I could help them understand how to build their project using scale and fold that into like their blockchain or Web3 strategy. And so the skill sets that I brought over, I think from my career was more just like that prototyping capability. Prototype fast, prove that a concept exists, pass it down to engineering to build it out further into the project. So build out the test and then have it scale further down the stack. Of course, having like that full stack dev experience does like help because it helps me create and maintain that customer or project empathy for projects that are learning about Web3 or just trying to wrap their head around how to architect the entire situation that they're trying to build. And so I think, being able to like meet any full stack developer where they are and help them understand like how to move the pieces around definitely helps, shape what the solution engineering team is all about. Our goal is to make it so that way developers feel as if they can use the SKALE network, which, the Gray Axis's point, it's a platform. And so there's a lot of moving parts, there's a lot of pieces, there's file storage, there's interchain messaging, there's the blockchain that you can just run transactions on. But as you can imagine, like if you are new or existing to the space, understanding how to fit that into your application may not be just cookie cutter, easy to understand. And so the solution engineering role was like created to have sort of like a helping hand for developers on that journey. Make sure that they understood the tech in its entirety, but then also along the way, if we hit any roadblocks as far as like, okay, we need a partnership here, we need to figure out integration there, we need to prove out a concept there, the solution engineering team could easily jump in, fill that hole, and then make sure that we can keep moving forward with the projects launching onto the SKALE network. And so I'd say that that's experience definitely gained in careers past, that now able to like apply that here at SKALE Labs, and it's been a fun ride.
Absolutely. And that is one thing I will say, and I'm not going to speak against anybody, because it's not that I haven't seen them. I haven't necessarily looked hard enough. But one of the things that we kind of latched onto when we began looking to bridge MyLilius into Web3 was we were looking for more support because we didn't really understand the space that well. And one of the things that we were just so fortunate with was the fact that SKALE has such a strong solutions engineering team. And that's not something that everybody has, I don't think. It is not like it is something that other projects on our networks have, right? But just the amount of relationship between not only us and SKALE, but from what we've heard from other projects, the relationship that they have with SKALE Labs as well, and the solution kind of bridge there, is just something really amazing. And it's really cool to hear how your previous experience helped you get there and to where you are now. So that's just really great. I'm going to jump back really quick just because I'm curious. If you're willing to share, I would love to know what you wanted to build on Ethereum. Just because you've mentioned it a few times. So if it hasn't been built yet, don't say it because you might jump back there one day. But if it's now available and someone's doing it, I'm very curious to hear what the project was that ultimately got you into this industry and to where you are now.
I am going to decline to share that.
Fair enough.
Because I haven't seen it built yet. And
Fair
so, I'm definitely a Scalian for the long haul. But like most full stack developers, you're always tinkering on other things and building other applications. And so there are some things that I want to keep close. But in the future,
absolutely.
maybe I'll hop on another podcast with you guys.
Absolutely. We are looking forward to hearing it. I'm sure everybody else is as well.
Yeah, if you go back to it in the future, just let us know. We'll have another spot for you on the podcast.
Awesome.
But so on Twitter, your profile picture has been a Coven NFT for the longest. What about that project is so interesting to you, and like why? Yeah, what about it so interesting? Why did you go to it? Why did you gravitate towards it?
All right, so to add another personal touch to my persona, I actually, this is going to be interesting, I think, for you guys to know. I didn't have any NFTs outside of, ENS. So I had bought some names in the past, sure, for demos, and maybe I bought a crypto kitty for like testing, but that was all like within testing environments. I didn't have anything that was associated to like me. And so my husband, he found this woman-led project, Crypto Coven, and instantly got involved in their community, started messaging in their Discord. And when they had their mint sessions, he minted 3 witches. And one he gave to himself, one he gave to our daughter, and one he gave to me. And instantly I was like, oh, this is awesome. Woman-led project that also has AI to generate uniqueness and rareness. And the AI also generates a story behind each witch, and there's charms, and they're constantly building within the space. They're planning on spinning a roll-off, new NFT project. I was like, sign me up. This sounds amazing. Of course, I want to join this community. And at the moment I like changed my profile pic, instantly got involved with the community because someone from the community, Art with Ramos, he created a fan art of my specific crypto coven witch, for me to like use within my Twitter space or all my spaces. And we connected with him immediately because we thought that was just like such a nice gesture to see, well, is there any way that we can, fund like this, gesture? And he was like, no, I do this for free. I really enjoy this community. I want to be a part of it. This is just for you. Is there anything else that we can do for you? And we were like, well, since you asked, we do love your fan art, and it would be really cute if you could take the three witches and create a fan art of the three of us together as a family, my husband, myself, and my daughter. And he did it. But of course, we were like, no, you must be, incentivized like for your work. This is absolutely amazing. And we did, and we absolutely just like love like the community actively just like reaching out, engaging, and wanting to like create like more happiness ripples, if you will, within the community. And it was just I don't know, it was just so heartwarming, and that was my first interaction with joining an NFT community that I absolutely like loved. And so I am committed. I love Crypto Coven. I talk about them on pretty much like every chance that I get, and I'm starting to like get involved in other projects. But yeah, that's still by far like my top favorite one.
Oh, those are the stories you like to hear in the space. Like there's such an authentic connection between people. I really just love it. You gotta send me um the fan art he made, so we can pop it up on the screen so everybody can see it. Um,
Will do.
but, you said there's some other projects that you're interested in now. You wanna read those off real fast? A little description for them.
Well, is it too much to say MyLilius, who's fixing the fractured user experience of viewing assets across all the platforms? No? No? Okay. Well, I'm going to throw
That's
that one out there because absolutely, I love that project. So I'm not sure who the developers are on that one, though.
Me
Maybe.
neither.
Um,
I have no idea.
but I absolutely, definitely, I love that vision, and I'm just going to stick on that for a little bit before hopping over to a few, because one of the things that I feel that is missing in this space is I really want more projects to pay attention to user experience. And where projects, lose sight of that, it's awesome to see, specifically within Scale community, other projects coming on and saying, "Hey, we are going to help fix this problem for you guys. We see this coming. Let us be, the project that's going to fix this solution." And I love it. So I just wanted to start with that. But then, obviously, just tying it back to some side initiatives that I have about, bringing more women into the space and helping them along their journey. There's two projects that I love. BFF, which is Blockchain Friends Forever. They have a really awesome space where you can come with any question and literally anything. We don't care what your background is, whether or not you just post a question about what is blockchain, they'll answer it. And they'll do it with such grace and such compassion, such understanding that it's a community that's worth like becoming a part of. And then the second one is Blue DAO. I had the pleasure of meeting them at ETH Amsterdam, Sunny from there, and they were absolutely amazing. I love that, they brought women to ETH Amsterdam to hack. They paid for their lodging, they paid for their flights, they gave them ideas to hack on, and they mentored them throughout the entire journey. Beyond, just bringing women to these events, their main mission is to help place women into their dream jobs within Web3. So how can you not love that? I mean, it's absolutely amazing to like see a project have an idea, a vision, and literally just like bring it to life. And because it's something that really definitely pulls on my heartstrings, like I love both of those projects like equally. Like they do an amazing job. There's millions of them out there that are definitely coming up and doing amazing things. But just to keep it short before I go on a rampage and list like a million, I'll say those three.
Those both sound really
Also, those
unique.
sound.
And oh, Anthony, you keep interrupting me. Come on. You can go ahead though. It's all good.
My bad, man. I was just saying that those sound great, especially like that Blue Dow. I love that, and even like BFF, like just to have that open space to ask questions and have that support is pretty just heartwarming to me, honestly. We just interviewed Techno Feudal Citizens, and they kind of do the same concept. Except for you can go there and you can have just like critical thought sessions on any subject that you want. And just like those two type of concepts, we don't really get that in the world nowadays. It's kind of like you go do your job, go home, you just go about the routine. There's not much room to be curious, and to explore. So I really like those projects.
So,
And just to follow up on that, just because I'm curious, how many projects would you have listed off?
how many? Oh, wow.
Like, are we talking like
Uh,
hundreds or like dozens or like thousands? Like, just curious because I think that speaks to
I could,
Web3 as a whole, right? Of, you're one person. How many communities do you find and that you believe can do something beneficial for the world? In a space where that's what the space is all about, is making things better, right? That's what decentralization is designed to do, is make things better in a unique manner. So just curious.
yeah, I could have easily listed off like 50 to 100. And if you gave me time to write them all down, probably more. I think what's fun about working at Still Labs is that I do come across so many amazing projects that are tinkering and building and have ideas, projects that have already launched to projects that are just forming an idea. And I just love just like hearing people's vision. Because one thing that I love, and I love the reason why I stay attached to the blockchain community is that you'll find that people usually have like these heartwarming like visions towards like behind like why they're creating like these DAOs or why they are creating like their project. And I guess that goes back to the social impact message that I was giving, where I feel that there's a lot more applications that are building with the mindset of let me figure out how to make life easier for someone else, or let me figure out how to like change the world, and the way that I see it needs to be changed. And I think that's amazing and not something that I constantly came across every day in Web3. I'm sorry, Web 2. And Web 2, it was more just how can I help this company make more money? And let's leave it there. Let's end it there. And so I love that I'm able to get involved and stay involved with projects that think beyond that or more than that. So
I'm so glad there's somebody like you in the world supporting these passion projects, um, throughout, and these DAOs or whatever type of project there is. As we go forward, um, keep in touch with them, keep in touch with us, and we'll try to get them on the pod as well. To give them, just promote them some more. But all in all, it was great to have you on the pod today, Christine. Um, I know we probably will do another one here because you're such a great guest, honestly. So, thank you very much. And I think it was a great talk.
awesome. Thanks for having me, guys. Can't wait to the next one.